So the cars on the grid for the first round of the Toyota MR2 Championship. On the front row we have Paul Hinson and Guy here for the two cars separated by 400. For the second in qualified, the second row is Matthew Palmer and Luke Austin. The third row we have Ben Rowe and George Robinson. On the fourth row, Lee Gamble and Michael Wells. Fifth row we have Ross Barnett and Matthew Wallace. On the sixth row we have Clive Morfitt in the first of the Mark III's, Michael Nicholls. The seventh row, Rob Wells and Stuart Nicholls. Eighth row, Paul Grimmett and Stephen Wells. On the ninth row of the grid, Mark Snelling and Tony Jones. On the 10th row of the grid, James McCutcheon and Mark Lighton. On the 11th row of the grid, David Rowe and William Gallagher. Then Jim Davies and Simon Batsman, and so on. We have a massive 35 cars on the grid. They all are there, so all 35 are there. The red lights go on and the lights go out now, and the race is away. And it's Hefford versus Hinson off the front. Hefford's got it from second on the grid. Guy Hefford makes a better start than Paul Hinson as the cars head through Copse Corner for the first time of asking here. This 13 minutes plus 1 lap race for the Toyota MR2 Championship. We ride on board with Stuart Nicholls. We see Rob Wells drawing up alongside him as they head down towards Beckett's for the first time of asking him. Through he goes on board with the Mark III. Stuart Nicholls, somebody locks up in front. Rob Wells going right round the outside. He has to die out of the way because Luke Austin's car spun, as well as Ben Rowe on board now with the car of Tony Jones as he makes his way through the carnage. We have at Beckett. It's just getting past him. On the right hand side was Mark Warren Leighton. On the left hand side with Mark Snelling in the Alex Lennon car. Into Luffield, and they're side by side with the lead. Guy Hefford just about in the front of Paul Hinson still, but Hinson gets the cut back on the exit of the corner nearly. Not quite. Hefford stays in front, but then again Hinson really locks to be challenging as they complete the first lap of the race. There's nothing between the two cars. Nose to tail, and Hinson again ducks out of the slipstream up on the inside as they head down towards Courts for the first time. Then Matthew Palmer's behind them in third, but I think Hinson's going for the lead. They're side by side. They head through Courts. You've got a huge gap on the car. The two Nicholls side by side in the Class C battle for the lead. It was Stuart on the inside, Michael on the outside. We're back on board with Stuart Nicholls, and he's got ahead of his dad. He leads the class now. So Stuart Nicholls leads Class C. Michael Nicholls losing out as well to one of the Mark II's. Really on the brakes. It's Nicholls as he dived up on the inside there. Couldn't make it through past one of the other Mark II's. Right behind is Stephen Wells. He just got ahead of Michael Nicholls. And that car in front smoking, and he gets to the side. And I think that car will be heading to retirement. That was Michael Wells. So Ben Rowe has retired on the race. We've got Paul Hinson leading the way, and Matthew Palmer putting Guy Hefford under pressure for second position, and nose to tail as they head to Woodcote for the first time. So second time even. They complete their first flying lap off the race. The top three all together as they head down towards Copse. Hefford getting the slipstream and getting right back with Hinson as they turn into Copse Corner. Luke Austin trying to come back through the field. He's up on the side of Stephen Wells. Couldn't make it through as they headed into Copse. We have a great field of MR2s again this year. But James McCutcheon and Michael Weld, as well as Ben Rowe, out the race. We're down to 32 cars out there now, and we're on board with car in the hands of Tony Jones. He's right behind Michael Nicholls. He tried to find a way past him but couldn't do it. Sideways and in front as well. The ex-Alex Lennon car of Mark Snelling went sideways. Both of them held it together as they head down the Wellington Straight. Into Brooklands come the leaders past the stranded car of Michael Wells. So the three of them still all together pretty much again through the Brooklands Luffield complex. Paul Hinson starts to make a break to Hefford and to Palmer. Then fourth is George Robinson. But this battle for second position between Hefford and Palmer is continuing as they head down towards Copse Corner. Then they turn into the right-hander. We have people not really involved in the battle. We get Luke Austin now. Luke Austin has made his way past Stephen Wells. His next target is our onboard camera, Stuart Nicholls. We ride on board of him now as we head down towards Beckett's. So down towards the corner we go. If we look at the bottom left-hand screen, we can see Luke Austin there. Great inset picture we got, provided by Stuart Nicholls here. Around the outside there goes Stephen Wells. He couldn't get it done though, and much quicker through the corner. It's the Mark III Roadster. Stuart telling me about this earlier on. The car at the end of the straights, not quite as quick, but we've got to change for a second. Matthew Palmer ahead of Guy Hefford. Like I was saying, Stuart was telling me that the car not quite quick at the end of the straight, but quicker into, through and out of the corners than the Mark II cars. So overall, there's not a huge difference. A lot of work got into that. He's done his dad's Mark III over the winter. If we think back 18 months or so, back to Snetterton, the cars would have been right near the back of the field, and now Stuart Nicholls running well up the field. So you can see that battle now heading into Copse Corner, and Stuart Nicholls now is right behind the car of Clive Morfitt. They've managed to close him in. Now Luke Austin again looking all over the back of Nicholls as they head onto the brakes. This is where Luke Austin and Ben Rowe made contact on the first lap of the race, and Luke Austin losing out there on the outside line. And now they go up through the gears down the Wellington Straight. They go towards Brooklands. Underneath the vehicle bridge they go. And now here comes Austin looking to the inside, but later on the brakes is that Mark III roasted, but Stuart Nicholls starts to run out wide. This could well give Luke Austin position, and it does. Austin's through then. And there they come out of Luffield then, not that far in front of them. There it's Lee Gamble chasing after Matthew Wallace. They head down to Copse Corner. And there's Luke Austin ahead of Stuart Nicholls now. And then right behind Nicholls is Stephen Wells. So still Paul Hinson though, remember, leading the race. The number 2 machine, second championship last year, James Cross on it. He's gone off to the MSFP F3 Cup. On board then, a replay here, seeing the car of Mark Snelling off the circuit, riding on board with Tony Jones. And we have another replay here. What are we seeing here? Michael Nicholls losing it just in front of us. We just about managed to avoid him there. So that could have lost Mick Nicholls his second position. So lead is through. Into Luffield then, load of battles really. Now this is Luke Austin, isn't it? Luke Austin right behind Clive Morfitt now then. And then Stuart Nicholls right behind them, so we've got a three-way scrap that isn't all that far behind Paul Grimmett either. So here they come. Now you can see the really badly dented door of Luke Austin after having that contact with Ben Rowe down at Beckett's on the first lap. Side by side there, Luke Austin tries to come round. Yes, and he's done it! A great move by Luke Austin, but then he runs out wide, and that may well give more, Clive Morfitt the position back. It does. I thought for a moment that Luke Austin had gone right round the outside, not quite been able to make it done though, because he ran out a bit too wide. And now later on the break, Stuart Nicholls closing right in on him. He can't quite find a gap on the inside line there. But now we're right underneath the rear bumper of the Rogue Motorsport car of Luke Austin. But then here we see the Mark IIs having the more powerful cars down the straight. A good slipstream from Austin, because this is for him on the inside of Clive Morfitt to head down to Brooklands. And he's got the position done this time. So Austin ahead of Morfitt. Down into Luffield then, and now round the outside challenge is Stuart Nicholls, but he cannot find a way past Morfitt this time. And now Luke Austin starting to get closer to the car in front of him, of Clive Grimmett. Now this battle between Matthew Wallace and Lee Gamble heads down to Copse Corner. Behind, Amy Atkinson gets lapped. Back on board with Stuart Nicholls then as we head down towards Beckett's. Get onto the brakes now then. And we've got to lap that car of Atkinson now, up on the inside. Chasing after Clive Morfitt. Again here, what Stuart Nicholls is telling me, quicker out the corner and then getting onto the bumper of the car in front, but then we're running a slipstream here, which obviously will help him along But if it was another Mark 2, he would be able to get up alongside now. But late on the brakes, round the outside for Brooklyn. In front, Luke Austin goes into position. Get ahead of Paul Grimmett. Sideways we go. Stuart Nicholls holding onto that one nicely now from the outside line for Luffield. Can't get that one done either. So still in front is Clive Morfitt. As we now put the power on, go down towards Woodcote. Here's the Wallace and Gamble battle. Lee Gamble can't quite get close enough to challenge, it appears, so far in this race. There's Luke Austin, like I said, he's ahead of Paul Grimmett now, and Stuart Nicholls look on the inside, can't quite get that one done still. On board then with the 28 car of Tony Jones, chasing now after Mark Snelling. We go onto the brakes towards Beckett. Go through the right-hander. Then put the power on as we go down the winning straight. We've got a car spun at Brooklands there. That could be Jamie Grant, Paul Hinson just about getting through without making contact with the car there. And now Matthew Palmer's gone second. Palmer up to second since the last time we saw them. So down to third has gone Guy Hefford. And still in the fourth position is George Robinson. Right, now Lee Gamble's a lot closer to the car in front than he has been before, the car of Matthew Wallace, and not far behind him either is Rob Barnett. So they head through Woodcote, power on down the start-finish line, they complete another lap, and they cross the start line before they head into Cobbs, and chasing all three of them is Luke Austin, who's got away from the battle behind, and now Paul Grimmett falling into the hands of Clive Morfitt, and then Stuart Nicholls right behind. We ride on board them through Cobbs Corner, over the curb, then down towards the Beckett's corner, and now Grimmett under pressure from Morfitt, and again late on the brakes. Stuart Nicholls closing in on the two cars in front of him. Grimmett runs out all over the curb, and Stuart Nicholls draws up alongside Clive Morfitt again. Like I said, telling me quicker out of the corners on acceleration now. There's a slow car up in front. No, not sure if that's the car that's just had a bad exit to Beckett, so it's the car that's about to be lapped by. We're going round the outside of Grimmett. I think it could even be Lee Gamble in front, so obviously he's made a mistake somewhere, but Stuart Nicholls has got past Morfitt now on the inside for Luffield and Paul Grimmett, and he's got him as well, so 2 places gained for Stuart Nicholls. And then the car slows in front again. Is that Lee Gamble? It looks like the 99 machine, so yes it is, so a problem for Lee Gamble. As the cars now head down into Cobbs Corner, up on the inside of Nicholls. Once again comes the cars behind, but instead of Grimmett getting past, it's more from the inside of him as they exited Cobbs. Now they head down towards Beckett, side by side the two cars are. They get on the brakes through Beckett, so both the cars run out wide, and Lee Gamble's going to come back past both of them now. So both the cars late on the brakes through Beckett to run that wide. Actually the 26 of Grimmett may well stay in front of him. Leaders through Brooklands and Luffield. Still Paul Hinson leading, then after his bad start, once he got past Guy Hefford, he has continued to lead. Now here comes this scrap between now Matthew Wallace and Luke Austin's got up there now. He's made his way ahead of Rob Barnett, who's dropped off a bit. So now Luke Austin going well. There's Rob Barnett just lapping one of the slower runners there. That may well be Jamie Grant, who spun earlier on. Luke Austin now right underneath the car of Matthew Wallace as they head through Cobbs Corner. And the battle continues between Grimmett and Morfitt. And I think Gamble then ended up getting past both of them into Cobbs Corner for Tony Jones. Now he's edged his way closer to Mark Snelling. He runs over the curb. Oil down at Brooklands, and there's a spin there. Can't quite tell whose car it is, but we've got a massive line of oil. Paul Hinson slides his way through the corner up to second. Now it's George Robinson. Where's he come from? He's gone second then. Palmer there, and Palmer and Hefford battling away for third position. Leaders will get checkered flag as we see Luke Austin and Matthew Wallace spinning that battle for 5th position. There's Stuart Nicholls again, but fast to get both of them as he round the outside of Wallace, who's got a massive slide on. I wonder if hit there was contact with Luke Austin, because there may well be damage. It's 3 cars off now. Everybody spinning on the oil down there. This final lap through Brooklands is going to make a huge difference to the race if you can keep the car under control through the oily section there at Beckett's. There's Michael Nicholls has fought his way back up into 16th position after his spin earlier. He's second in the Mark III Class C class. Somebody else gets started. That's the third in that class, actually, Jim Davies. And there's lots of people losing it there on the oil, just about continuing to point in the right direction was Adam Stevens, I think it was. And we got a spin there. Somebody else has lost it. That could well be Simon Wallace. And the checkered flag is out as Tony Wells passes that. Tony Jones even passes that. He finished 11th. So on board with Wells earlier in the race, really late on the brakes as he closes in on the ex-Alex Lennon car of Mark Snelling. So headed through Luffield, right underneath him at this point of the race. That was all before the oil went down. So now we can ride on board with him. I think this was the last lap, was it? Yes, they hit the oil. There goes round the car of Mark Snelling. Now Stuart Nicholls, what did he see of it? Well, there's the Austin and Wallace cars going off. Rob Barnett going off as well. And Stuart Nicholls said, thank you very much, I'll have all those positions. Now let's watch the car in the bottom left hand screen on that rear view cameras. Was there a problem with Matthew Wallace's car? Well, the car is not pointing a straight line, is it? It's going sideways, so obviously broken steering for that car. Meanwhile, while that all was happening, Paul Hinson did win the race, but only by less than 4 tenths of a second to George Robinson. We're going to get the results up with some start replays. So yes, George Robinson, a great drive in the second half of the race to climb up to second. Third was Matthew Palmer, beating Guy Hefford, who dropped down to 4th, the early race leader. Stuart Nicholls finished in the top 5, a great drive from him. Matthew Wallace with a damaged car finished 6th. Rob Barnett was in 7th, and Lee Campbell, after problem towards the end of the race, he still finished in 8th. 9th was Paul Gritt, 10th was Stephen Wells, 11th was one of our onboard cameras, Tony Jones, 12th Mark Snelling, Clive Morfitt there, 13th. So obviously he had a spin as well on that last lap. 14th was Luke Austin after his spin, and he had to wait for people to come through. Remember, he had that damaged door from the early collision with Ben Rowe, who didn't finish. 15th was Mark Warren Lighton, 16th Michael Nicholls.